Welcome to My Irish Radio, music and culture news, your connection to everything happening in the world of Irish music and culture. I'm Jamie Flanagan. Each episode will share the latest news from Ireland's vibrant music scene, from traditional and folk to rebel ballads, pub tunes, Celtic rock, and today's top Irish pop. We'll also bring you updates on festivals, cultural events, and people keeping Irish heritage alive around the world. And remember, My Irish Radio is more than just a station. It's your community, your soundtrack, your voice. You can listen 24/7 at myirishradio.com and through the links in the podcast description below. Here's the best part. You can be part of it. Host your very own show on My Irish Radio. Choose your playlist, share your stories, make My Irish Radio your Irish Radio. Let's get into what's happening this week in Irish music and culture.
You've handed us an absolutely fascinating stack of sources this week. It's a rich tapestry pulled from all the latest reporting on Irish culture and music.
It really is, and it's all anchored around this core document we're calling Emerald Echoes, Irish Music and Cultural Horizons 2025.
So our mission today, then, is pretty focused.
Highly concentrated, yeah. We need to pull out the key nuggets and, the main insights from this very broad material.
And what immediately jumps out from these sources is this tension.
Exactly. That's the word for it. On one hand, you have this phenomenal artistic vibrancy, this huge global outreach.
But on the other,
you have these deep, really complex social and technological debates happening right now. It's like a perfect snapshot of a nation just thriving artistically while at the same time actively redefining its core identity.
Okay, so let's unpack all of this to give you a clear roadmap. We're going to start where all the energy seems to be, which is the ridiculously vibrant music scene of 2025. We'll explore the new sounds, the big events.
And then we'll widen the lens a bit.
Yeah, widen the lens to cultural architecture, Ireland's global connections, before finally, and this is maybe the most important part, tackling those profound social and technological fault lines that are making all the headlines. All right, let's kick off with the soundtrack of 2025. The data in these sources is it's almost overwhelming. This is a staggeringly strong year for Irish music.
It really is. And we're not just talking about niche success. You have artists like Kingfish, the hip-hop group Kneecap, and of course CMAT.
Right. They aren't just doing well.
No, they are dominating charts and streaming platforms, and not just in Ireland, but internationally.
And what's fascinating here, looking through the analysis, is that this success isn't defined by a single sound, is it?
Not at all, and that's the key. It reflects a real confidence in blending these deep traditional roots with a completely contemporary global ambition.
Which is why big players are taking notice.
Absolutely. You see organizations like Apple Music and the magazine Louder, they're keenly tracking this rising wave. Why? Because the quality is just consistently high across so many different genres.
You mentioned variety, so let's drill down into some specifics, because this is where the sources get really interesting. For instance, there's a singer-songwriter, Rita Perry. Her debut single, Seasons, is getting a massive amount of attention.
Indeed. And the description of Seasons points to a very sophisticated sonic architecture. It's not simple.
How so?
Well, it's described as soulful, very richly vocal, but listen to the instrumentation they list. Acoustic guitar, a trumpet, and strings all layered together.
A trumpet? Wow.
Yeah. This isn't minimalist pop. It suggests a very deliberate move toward these layered, almost cinematic soundscapes.
That's a great point. It's a production choice that signals something bigger.
It's a clear signal of artists aiming for, global synchronization placements in film and television, not just a hit on the radio.
The ambition is baked right into the sound. And she's not alone in this kind of immediate output. The sources also mentioned John Bleck's new album, The Midnight Ache. It just dropped, and there were reviews out already.
Which just confirms the rapid-fire nature of consumption and feedback in this whole ecosystem. The cycle is incredibly fast.
So, beyond the big names, what else is happening?
If we look past them, you see this real willingness to absorb external influences and then sort of recontextualize them in a uniquely Irish way.
Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting for me with the genre mashups. I have to admit, I did not have Irish take on American Midwest emo on my 2025 bingo card.
I don't think anyone did.
But Naller 9, the music blog, highlighted this new band, Child of Prague, and that's the exact description. What does that blended sound even mean in a contemporary Irish context?
Well, I think it speaks to the death of geographic silos in music. Irish artists are clearly listening to everything. That Midwest emo sound, it's often characterized by this very raw, melancholic, lyrical honesty.
Right, with those complex guitar parts.
Exactly, those angular guitar arrangements. So translating that to an Irish context, it likely means keeping that emotional core, but maybe infusing it with some local narrative, maybe even a touch of melodic folk influence way down in the mix underneath all the distortion. It's an intellectual exercise as much as a musical one.
That makes sense. And there's a similar blended approach coming from Kyson Point, right? A duo.
Yeah, their debut album, Underwater Sky, is another great example. It successfully mixes these folk rock foundations with very contemporary electronic textures.
It just confirms that the studio is the ultimate playground for these artists now.
That combination of, analog performance and digital sheen is very much the current hallmark of global indie music, and Ireland is right there at the forefront.
So the output is huge, the creativity is there, but is the infrastructure there to support it? I mean, what stages are actually anchoring this diverse music scene?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the infrastructure is absolutely supporting it, yeah. For electronic music lovers, you've got the SIR Festival, which means Sounds from Ireland, and it's taking place in the stunning setting of Dingle.
So taking modern genres outside of just Dublin or Cork.
Precisely. And speaking of which, promoting fresh talent is obviously crucial.
And there are festivals for that specifically.
Absolutely. The Next Big Thing Festival is kicking off its 5th edition across both Dublin and Cork, and it's dedicated to putting those emerging acts on stage.
Plus the national broadcaster is involved.
Yes, Arte's 2FM Rising program is like a constant machine, always highlighting upcoming talent and ensuring that pipeline of new artists stays secure.
And what about the traditional scene? For those who prefer their roots absolutely firm.
That's vital context. The trad scene maintains immense prestige. The sources mention the recent announcement of finalists for the high-profile Bon or San Oriata competition down in Cork.
Which is a very big deal in that world.
A huge deal. For the traditional music community, this is a highly respected institution. It's about honoring mastery and performance. But interestingly, the sources did note that the annual Late Late Show Trad Special received mixed reviews this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it seems even these venerated institutions aren't immune to scrutiny or, shifting tastes in the wider cultural conversation.
You're listening to My Irish Music and Culture News, brought to you by My Irish Radio, streaming the best in Irish and Celtic music all day, every day. From classic jigs and reels to the latest Irish rock and pub favorites, we celebrate the sound of Ireland worldwide. Want to be more than a listener? Be a host. Share your love for the Irish music by hosting your own show on My Irish Radio. It's easy to get started. Just send us an email, myirishradio@gmail.com. Don't forget, you can listen 24/7 at myirishradio.com. Make My Irish Radio your Irish radio.
Okay, let's pivot now from the sound booth to the global stage. It seems that outgoing energy we're seeing in music is matched by Ireland's commitment to projecting its design and artistic thought globally.
Yes, there's a clear strategic push toward a global arts discourse. And a huge signal of this is Ireland preparing its official representation for the 2027 Venice Architecture Biennale.
That's not a minor event. That's the Olympics for global design and architecture.
Exactly. And the fact that they are already seeking expressions of interest for the curation now 2 years out, that suggests a real seriousness about the project.
It shows a long-term commitment.
It does. A commitment to defining and presenting Irish architectural identity and cultural thought on a world stage. It acknowledges that culture isn't just fine art, it's design, it's urban planning, it's about how we live.
And this desire to be part of the global conversation is also paired with celebrating figures, both established and emerging. We see authors like Patrick McCabe taking up new residencies, ensuring their literary output continues.
And then you have the crossover stars. Caitlin Cummins, the current Rose of Tralee, that venerable cultural institution, is now making the leap into mainstream reality entertainment by joining Dancing with the Stars.
That's a really interesting signal, isn't it?
It is. It signals how traditional cultural figures are increasingly transitioning into these global celebrity structures.
And speaking of celebrity structures, there's the constant media focus on actor Domhnall Gleeson's growing international success. It really cements the idea that Irish culture punches far above its weight on the world stage, especially in film.
This is all about the global reach of Irish creativity. But what really stood out to me, tying this all back to community and heritage, was an international development reported by the Irish Post.
What was that?
It's the opening of a new dementia center in Birmingham in the UK that specifically focuses on incorporating Irish culture into its care model.
Wow. That's a really profound detail. It's moving beyond just artistic output and connecting culture directly to social care and diaspora identity.
Precisely. It shows that Irish culture isn't just confined to the geographical island. It's a living heritage that requires support and recognition across borders. It just reiterates that theme we saw in the music, this continuous blend of preserving tradition while expanding modernity.
And ensuring that cultural connection isn't lost.
Right. Even in moments of vulnerability for the diaspora community.
Okay, now we have to transition into the major challenges and debates that emerge from these sources this week. It seems when you're a country experiencing this much creative and global success, you inevitably have these deep social conversations that challenge the status quo.
That's right. And these are topics where we have to be particularly careful to just, impartially report the content of the sources.
So let's start with the big one.
A seismic church-state debate that really dominated the headlines recently. Former President Mary McAleese ignited a firestorm by stating that infant baptism fundamentally violates a child's rights to autonomy.
That's not just a theological disagreement.
No, it's a profound challenge to a foundational, historical, social institution in Ireland.
And the sources show the response was immediate and vigorous.
It was. Independent Catholic news and Catholic culture sources indicated that various Catholic figures pushed back very quickly, arguing strongly against the former president's claim.
So this debate really represents a direct collision.
It's a collision between historical social expectations and these evolving modern concepts of individual autonomy and rights within the family unit. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it reflects the ongoing, sometimes painful, reevaluation of the historic role of the church in modern Irish society. The magnitude of this tension really can't be overstated.
Now, moving beyond those cultural structures, the sources also highlighted a striking and genuinely surprising statistic about immigration.
This one really jumped out.
It says Ireland saw a quadrupling of international protection applications from the United States in 2025.
A quadrupling from the U.S. That is a staggering number, especially since we traditionally think of migration flows moving in the other direction.
And that must force Ireland to face some new challenges.
It has to, regarding reception capacity and domestic policies. But at the same time, the sources show that Irish Catholic leaders publicly encourage the welcoming of newcomers.
So a push toward inclusion.
A clear societal push toward inclusion. Yeah, even amidst these complex and surprising immigration shifts.
And finally, there's the persistent global topic of technology and AI, which is coming into sharp focus. Ireland, of course, being a major European tech hub, is inherently involved in these global policy negotiations.
That involvement was confirmed this week. Ireland's Minister for AI met with executives from formerly Twitter, specifically about the Grok AI tool.
The meeting itself is significant then.
Very. It underscores Ireland's gateway role into the EU market for these massive American tech players.
But the sources also emphasize that despite the dialogue, the concerns about Grok they're still there.
They remain prominent, yes, specifically around data protection, bias, and algorithmic transparency.
So this is a moment of high-stakes negotiation.
It is. Ireland has to harness the economic potential of being a tech hub while at the same time mitigating the ethical and social risks that are inherent in adopting these massive, quickly evolving AI tools, especially with the watchful eye of European regulatory standards.
So the meeting was a signal that the conversation is ongoing.
And that the concerns are far from resolved.
So when we put it all together, what does this all mean for you, the listener? The sources paint this vibrant picture of a country that is absolutely thriving artistically, whether it's the sophisticated debut of Rita Perry or that global cultural projection with the Venice Biennale.
Right. But underneath all that creative energy, there is a serious daily grappling with these profound social, religious, and technological shifts.
From the fundamental debate over baptism rights all the way to negotiating the future of Grok AI. So we would just quickly pull all the threads together. This deep dive showed us the incredible depth of the music scene, from soulful acoustic mastery to the completely unexpected appearance of an Irish take on American Midwest emo.
We saw Ireland reaching globally, preparing for Venice, and maintaining these powerful, nurturing diaspora links like that new cultural center in Birmingham.
And critically, we noted the sharp internal debates happening, challenging fundamental social assumptions about religion and technology.
It reveals a nation deeply engaged in the active process of self-definition. They are actively balancing the powerful weight of tradition with the absolute imperative of radical change and modernity, and they're doing it across every single sector.
So for you, the listener.
For you, understanding these diverse nuggets is key to grasping the multifaceted, dynamic identity of Ireland today.
It certainly is. And this leaves us with one final provocative thought for you to consider. Given the astonishing strength of Irish artists dominating global charts and streaming in 2025, how will this increasing global profile like the sustained attention on an actor like Domhnall Gleeson or the institutional focus on the Venice Biennale, how will that influence the next wave of Irish cultural output?
That's the big question.
Will that success force a broader conformity to global commercial trends? Or will that international platform simply amplify and reinforce what already defines the distinctive Irish sound and Irish identity as it spreads globally?
Until next time.
See you next time.
That's it for this episode of My Irish Radio, Music and Culture News. Thanks for joining us. And remember, you can hear the best in Irish and Celtic music 24 hours a day at myirishradio.com. If you ever dreamed of sharing your favorite tunes and stories, now's your chance. Become one of the hosts. Host your own show right here on My Irish Radio. Just send us an email. It's easy as that. myirishradio@gmail.com. Until next time, it's Jamie Flanagan. Keep the music playing and keep Ireland in your heart.